Hey all, it's Harmon from Misfit Adventure. So here we're going to go over the Microsoft MakeCode Arcade base character creator. So the cool thing about what we can do with this is we can use it to mirror our card game simulator. So for instance, for any kind of card that can be created here, we can already start turning it into a video game to set our hero up for an adventure. So this is part of our STEM guide, but just a real quick, we're going to go ahead and do an overview / tutorial for how to build it. It gets pretty repetitive, so if it looks like I've skipped, just make sure you use the link in the description. It has been shared. And just remember to keep a copy of this because this will be our base as we set off adventures to go with. All right. So we have a quick function to create our character. As we can see in the background image, this is done. You can watch another video that I will link to show how to import a picture, but this is some of the Turmoil Trolls artwork where we've taken Ogre character in and imported it in directly. And then we've just made sure that we splash set MP. So let's look over at our left. Okay, so I can see here that I will set the variable named HP. Where do I find it? I look up at the variables tab, and then we set a variable. I made all the variables up here. So if we can look down here for all the variables we made, we have made it for each of these stats. And I do apologize if the text is a little small, but as we can see here, we have the athletics, interpersonal, strength, magic, and mechanical, along with HP, MP, and defense. So we're going to let the player input all of their stats in, and we're also going to make sure we do a few things as we set it. So once we set life, we can actually, which is actually in the info, we can see that there is a number. In this case, we just decided to tie the life to the HP variable. And then we can also, then we go down to MP, defense, and everything else. So we look here for the variables, set, and we're going to set MP display to match what we call a text sprite. So text sprite is in here. You normally go into extensions, and as we go down, there is a text sprite option. Yep, right here at Arcade Text. So this lets us create a sprite for it, which we're going to want to our character to be seen as we go and play. All right. Then we're going to set that MP text sprite to, it's going to convert the MP variable that we enter into text. Now this is a matter of positioning, so feel free to change it however you need, but we're going to set that MP display variable to a position of X15 and Y20, and I'm going to make sure that doesn't get done, but as we can see as we click on it, it even lets you know on the gamepad where, generally speaking, that's going to appear. And we want the actual MP text to be at about out here. So I actually think that's going to be too far out anyway, so let's change that back to 10. And we're going to change that to about 30. Because we're going to want some delineation in characters. And we'll go ahead and reset that. Oops. All right, and we'll just make sure everything is uniform on that. So we'll see what we're getting at. But we can see here we repeat the same process in all the blocks as we go. We've just created a variable. We made sure there's a display, which is going to be a text sprite, and the actual stat, which we're going to show in a text sprite. So this lets MakeCode Arcade store and save the variables as we go. So again, it should be 10 and 30 uniformly. All right, you might be asking why we don't change the y variable at all. That's because it is going down by 10 just to make sure we've created enough space. All right, whoop. There we are. All right, now let's see how this should be working. So on create our character, we're going to set the HP. I'm going to go ahead and do 16. Because we've limited it to 2 characters. Random generator here. Sorry, sometimes the gamepad is finicky. All right, now we're on where we get some negative variables. So for that, you do actually want to go ahead and see. We're just going to do that as 0, 0. -2. And -1. All right, so we can see here that there is in fact the negative descriptor, which is good. So that means when we have our negative variables, we still have something in system to do it. Okay. Now we do have some things to work out here. Maybe some positioning for the athletic variable, or it might actually be there. But hey, that's what troubleshooting is for. The general concept, we can see that our strength and everything else matches. So whatever we might be missing from here, we're just going to have to showcase. All right, everybody, that is this in a nutshell. These errors will be fixed before you play, but happy gaming.